Hello and welcome to another coffee break. I'm your host, Vanelli. And for these the virtual coffee breaks, the goal is for you to ask questions and Skylum's going to provide the experts to answer those questions. Well, today I have two very special guests. They were with me earlier this morning at the 11 o'clock coffee break, and now they're back again for the 5 o'clock coffee break. They're portrait photographers, mother and daughter, Susie and Gracie Lee. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
How you doing? Doing good, Gracie?
Yeah.
So I noticed you had some coffee earlier.
I had tea.
Oh, good. So did I. My throat's not feeling too good. So when I saw that you had coffee, I just remember my uncles telling us that it'll stunt your growth. So as a little kid, they used to always say that to us. Don't drink coffee, it'll stunt your growth. But everybody in my family drank it. So, all right, we have Russell coming in from Orlando and Edward coming in. Ed, where are you calling or watching from? Now, earlier we mentioned what was, because of the whole quarantine thing, what was the last image you photographed? For you girls, what was it?
Our dog.
We are constantly going out in the backyard and taking photos of the dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're sticking true to the what do we want to call it? The quarantine, the curfew. What do we want to call that?
We're definitely staying at home. So we're self-isolating or sheltering in place.
Gotcha. Well, all right. So this episode, what we're going to do is I'm going to show some of the best practices for setting up Luminar, and now for the two, he's back again, and then for the two ladies, they're going to talk about their experience with Luminar because you really just started editing with it less than a week ago.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? So yeah. We'll go through some of the stuff that we were talking about here. We have a lot of people coming in. Good day from Western Australia. How you doing, Ren? And Ren, like I always joked before, I'm in Melbourne, but not Melbourne, Australia, Melbourne, Florida. And people, when I introduce myself, they'll say, "Wow, you're from Australia? Wow, I can't believe this." And I'm thinking, yeah, I was born and raised there. Listen to my accent. And people actually believed it. So Naples, Florida. Well, great. All right, so we're going to jump in. A couple things that we talked about before is some of the best practices on setting up Luminar. Now, for you two, did you have any issues when you first booted up software?
No, it was
Not
so
really.
easy. It was a very easy switch from Photoshop and Lightroom right into Luminar. It was very intuitive. We really had no problems.
All right. So there's 3 ways we talk about this. There are 3 ways to use Luminar. As a standalone program, as a plugin for Photoshop or for Lightroom, even Photoshop Elements. It'll work with that. Or you could use it just as a simple single image editing software program. But either way, let me get my screen up for you. All right, so here's my Luminar screen. But either way, the goal of it is for it to work in your workflow. Now, I know the girls, you were telling me you use it or used it mainly as a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom. All right, well, we'll go through that in a moment too. But so when we first launched Luminar, right, I added some of these images here, but let me get you to a blank catalog. Here we go. So you can have as many, there's a picture of you and me, Gracie, and I'm going to remove it. Do I put it in the trash can? No, we'll move it to, let's see. It should only be a single image edit and remove it. There it is. All right, so I removed it. Wow, so we have John coming in from Holland and France. Hello, bonjour. Okay, so it starts out, and here we are with here's Luminar coming in with nothing in it. So there's no folders, there's no images. Here you could use it either as a full, a standalone program and take advantage of the libraries or as a single image editor. Now, myself, when I first did it, I came over, clicked the plus sign, and I went right to my pictures folder. Let me get to it here. Or to my photography folder. And then from here, I just imported everything into that folder. Now, it's going to, well, here it's really fast because I don't have as many in here. But I'm going to be honest with you, I have a little over 230,000 photos. So think how long it took to put those images into my computer after I got done shooting, right? So it took a good 6 hours for my entire collection of images to be inputted into, into Luminar's database. So do you remember, and I talked to you girls about this too, Luminar is basically a database. So it's not storing your images inside the program. Your images are safe and sound right where you left them on your hard drive. What Luminar is doing is storing a reference to where those photos are, and it's going to store any changes you've made to that image with the tools we used, any the ratings or any of the stuff that we've added to it. It's putting it into that database. All right, so I brought all of them in, and here they are. If I want to get rid of them, I can remove them from the catalog without deleting them from my machine. All right, so let me pull it up here. So all I did here is, let's see if I can bring it back. Nope. So what I did was I just right mouse clicked. I jumped ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Here, let me do this. All right, so all I did was I right mouse click and remove from catalog. And then that took it out of this folder without deleting them off my hard drive. All right. Now, where do you store your Luminar catalog? The correct answer is on your fastest hard drive. So here I have it on my local drive. I personally created a new folder called Luminar Catalog. Inside that catalog, I created a subfolder, and I named it either main or whatever one I wanted. And then right here is the key. That main.luminar is your catalog. That is the most important file in this folder. Where you see backup, caching documents, and preview cache, you could delete those because when you relaunch Luminar, it'll rebuild all of those for you. So if for whatever reason, let's say your previews are not previewing fast enough or something seems like it's slowing down, you can come in here and delete cache and previews and it'll rebuild itself. If Luminar can't start, it automatically looks for the backup files that it creates for you. And then it'll choose one of these to get you back up and running. All right, I'm going to choose this one here. Let's see, File, Catalog, Open, and here we are. Back to my main catalog and open. Good, and now we're back to where I started from in the beginning. All right, so girls, did that help you out a little bit on understanding where, or the nuts and bolts behind Luminar?
It does. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Good. Now, let's see. Paul writes, is the program fast when the images are stored on a remote drive? Thank you for bringing that up. So here's a couple philosophies on this. Obviously, if you have your images on your main drive, the images are going to be much faster because there's no bottleneck with USB or with your network. If you put them on an external drive, still keep Luminar Catalog on your main fast computer. You'll notice a slight lag, but right here, I mean, if you're noticing there's not that much of a lag. Oh, I guess it'd be nice if I shows you my screen. Look how quick I'm able to bomb through these previews. So yes, it's going to be faster if it's on the hard drive. However, let's, with I have what, 12 terabytes of images. There's no way I can put 12 terabytes of images on my regular computer, my regular hard drive. So I have an external drive that does that for me. All right. So to answer his question, yes, it is faster if you have the catalog and the images on the same drive on your computer. But we all know that that's not going to be possible. So you leave your catalog on your computer, and then on the external drive, you have your your images. Now, Susie, you and your family, you own a photo studio.
We do. It's the Photo Coop in Little Falls, New Jersey. It's a large commercial production studio. We have renters that come in and do anything from a small personal shoot to large corporate productions. We've had movie scenes shot there and music videos on a regular basis.
Interesting. Okay, so now where do you have all your images stored? Because now you have it at the location, or do you have them at home? Where do you guys store your images?
We have everything on external drives at home, and our external drives are backed up to the cloud.
Okay, good. Well, you took my class, 3, 2, 1 backup, 3 copies of your data, 2 stored locally, 1 stored off-site. Okay, so Ed said he lost the image. Ed, did you get it back? Let me know, Ed. Oh, look who it is. We have Ev. He's in charge of our growth. He's one of the key guys at Skylum. Ev, welcome. He's from sunny Toronto. All right. Okay, so you have your studio, and now you have your external drives. Are you using mainly laptops or desktops at work to edit your images?
Laptops. Most of the time, laptops.
I use laptops.
Okay, so this is a rare instance because you're a business. Oh, good. Thanks, Ed. All right, I'm sorry. So please discuss between catalog and Luminar folder. We'll go through that. Thanks, Ed. All right, so here's a good example. You have your laptops with you all the time, and now you have your external drives with you, and you have another set in the cloud and off-site. So if you had to do a deadline, here's the suggestion would be store your Luminar catalog on your laptop, and now you have your external drive with you. You could continue editing as if nothing is stopping you. I mean, you have everything right there. Now, here's the thing. If you were to copy that Luminar catalog and just take the catalog and put it on that hard drive, you'll be able to open it up anywhere. You could take just the hard drive with you, and let's say you guys are coming here for a visit, and you're like, you know what, we really don't want to bring our laptops with us. I know Vanelli has a bunch of computers. We'll use his. You could take that catalog and move it from your hard drive to the portable, and now it's there on your portable, and you bring it over here, you put it in the computer, fire up Luminar, and once you fire up Luminar, you open up that catalog on your external drive. Now you're right back where you started from. So it's not like you have to rebuild a whole new catalog. So that's what's really cool about these catalogs. Now, Ed brought out a good point. What's the difference between a catalog and Luminar folder? Okay, so, or it should be the library. So your catalog is your library, Ed. So your catalog is what holds your library, or all of these images is what your catalog holds. And inside that catalog, it also holds, like we said, where the file's located, any changes you've made to that file, any tags you've made, or any ratings you've given it. So think of your catalog as a database. So that's your catalog is your database. Your Luminar folder or your Luminar library is what goes into that. All right? Let's see what. Oh, okay, good, tiny. All right. So now, with that being said, for yourself, Gracie, you, you were in a situation the other day. You don't have these images, but your mom was telling me that a young girl came into the studio and she wanted to rent the facility to have some shots of herself done. The difference was she brought a friend with her, and I guess the friend was going to use an iPhone or
Yeah.
Mars.
She wanted to use their phone to take the photos.
What went through your mind?
I was like, who would rent a studio and pay money for that for iPhone photos?
But again, if that's what they have, that's so what does your mom do?
So my mom tells her that she has a daughter who would love to take her photos, and then I took her photos.
And what type of photography do you do?
I do a lot of musicians and young teenagers trying to start their like lines and stuff.
And it's good to tell everyone that you're how old?
I'm 13.
13 years old. So think about that. For the guys, back when we were kids, to make extra money, we would take our parents' lawnmower and we would mow people's lawns, and that's how we made money. Or we babysat, the neighbor next door, and that's how we made extra money. God forbid if I charged Mary Past, our neighbor 2 doors down, to take out her garbage or rake her lawn, my mother would smack the daylights out of us. That was stuff we weren't allowed to charge for. If Mary Past said, "Hey, I need somebody to take out my garbage every Thursday," it wasn't as if, "Oh, sure, just go do it." It was, "Oh, you did it." And if she offered you money, don't take it, because if you got home and your mother found out you took a quarter, you were dead. So, all right, so let's do this. Okay, good. So, well, Vernon, we're going to do that right now. So Vernon is saying, how good is Portraiture on Luminar AI against Photoshop retouching? Well, let's ask you guys. So you two just did this, right? You fired up Luminar for the first time. Give me some of your thoughts. We'll go with you first, Susie.
Okay, so I definitely see some times where I would need to use Photoshop to at least do the basic cleanup first, or maybe a little more advanced retouching. But I mean, really, that the AI is amazing with Luminar. So I really think that I can get away from Photoshop most of the time.
Okay, so you're primarily a Photoshop user, and then you usually use Photoshop over Lightroom, right?
Well, no, my workflow usually starts in Lightroom, and if I need to do anything more advanced or do any kind of skin retouching or softening or anything, that's when I go into Photoshop.
Gotcha. All right, so to answer the question about how good is Portraiture in Luminar versus Photoshop, keep in mind, Luminar is an image editing software program designed for photographers or anyone who just loves taking photos. Whereas Photoshop is designed for graphic artists with incredible tools and powerful tools that manipulate the photos. For skin retouching, we always did frequency separation. And you have to follow it, A, B, C, D, all the way through. And if you went out of step, you had to start all over again because it wouldn't work. And yes, you'd create an action or something to help streamline that. Well, that's what AI is doing. AI is doing that frequency separation for you. It's removing blemishes, enhancing the skin, and so on. So why don't we do this? We're going to have Gracie, I'm going to take over your machine. Tell me when you're ready. All right, here we go. All right, so we have Luminar up. Gracie, explain what you did with this photo, how you took it.
So we used two lights. We put one camera right and put it directly down on her face. And then we used another gel light, coffee colored, and we put it directly against the wall behind her.
And what color was that wall?
It was black.
Oh, great. Sorry. So you add a little bit of light to that black wall. Nice. All right. So instead of being tool-centric, Luminar is purpose-centric. So it helps solve problems. for this particular image, what's some of the first things you want to do to develop this image?
I want to bring out the color, but I also really wanted to bring some life into her eyes.
Okay. All right. So, me personally, my number one tool is AI accent. That's under the, well, you have it right there. Yep. So that's my number one tool. But let's watch you walk through this. So you're going to increase. Go on.
I just kind of pull it until like I like it. So for this photo, I kind of want to put it around halfway.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just how I do it. I just kind of mess with it. So then after that, I used the light. And I chose the white balance, and Mr. Vanelli showed me this really cool trick where you pull from her like the whites of her eyes, and then it does that.
I liked right when you said that. It appeared. Good. So that sets your auto white balance.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then it kind of washed out the photo a little bit, so added a little bit more saturation. And then boom.
Great. And where did you add your saturation from?
The colors in the essential tools.
Good. So do you see how they spent a long time naming these tools? Because for the essential tools, it's essential. These are the tools us photographers use on a regular basis. So that's why they put them in the essential category. Now, and like you just said, well, I want color. Oh, here's a color tool. And that's where the intuitive part of this program kicks in. All right, so now it's a portrait. What do you want to do next to it?
So I went into, I have no idea how to pronounce this.
Vignette.
Vignette. And I used this to darken up the edges.
Okay.
Other way.
Oh, whoopsie daisies. So it kind of went on her hand. So what I did was I went to brush, and then I switched to erase. And then you can just like erase it from her hand, and that's really cool.
Oh, that's cool. All right, now here's something, how do I say this? You're still thinking old-fashioned. And it's so funny saying this to a 13-year-old. The first reaction was, okay, I'm going to mask out her hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this. How about you press Control Z or Command Z, see if that reverts it.
Manzi.
Oh, oopsies.
If not, the easiest thing to do is right there in Luminar, your Vignette tool. You see the little, yeah, right there. That's your reset. So now you're back to normal, right? Here's a real quick tip when you're working with Vignette. Go to an extreme. Take that mount slider all the way to your left. To your left, right this time. Good. Now, do the same thing with the amount. Good. Yep, the amount slider. Yep. I'm sorry, the size. The size all the way to the left. And I was wondering why you were looking at me. All right, now, here's the thing. Look where it's drawing the center of attention. So if you click on Choose Subject up on top, there you go. Now click on her face area, somewhere up on top. Ooh, look at that. So now you're actually telling it exactly where you want the center of the vignette to be. So now that you have it set, you can still click anywhere you want. Do you like it there or?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you dial back the amount and the size. There you go.
Oh, wow.
You see what just happened? Now it makes it blends in. And if you use the toggle switch, which you already did, on and off, look at that. Now, no one's ever going to look at that and say, wow, what a beautiful vignette. You know, what they're going to look at and say, wow, that's a really cool use of drawing the light to the subject. Good job on that. All right, now what about some of the portrait tools?
So we really like the Orton effect.
Let's start with that.
Yeah, okay, we'll start with the AI skin enhancer. So the skin defects removal was really like good to use. Yeah.
I told you the joke about that. I was working with a bunch of kids your age. And the first thing, when I asked what's your favorite feature, or what was your favorite part of Luminar, and a young 13-year-old said, I love how Luminar helps with our adolescent problems. I mean, your adolescent problems? She goes, yeah, skin acne and zits. and I just died that that's what she got out of everything that we talked about. All right, so I'll let you continue.
So then I turned up the amount on the AI skin enhancer. Yeah, like 20%. And then I moved this pretty much all the way up.
Oh, good. Yeah, so that's a new feature added, the shine. Now, you know, as a portrait photographer, shine happens when you have a smaller light source further away from your subject. If you had a beauty dish on her and you brought it in really, really tight, then the shine would be spread across her face, so you don't notice it as much. So whenever you catch a major shine on someone's face, that's because the light source was too far away and it was small.
Right. We're gonna play with lights more next time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now your favorite part, get those eyes enhancing.
Yes. So we used AI Portrait Enhancer for that. And then the eye whitening.
Nice.
And then we turned the eye enhancer all the way up because it's fun.
I love the shadows. So I'm looking at this. You had loop lighting. You have some dramatic loop lighting going on here, which looks really good. I like the shadows, the shadow plays. And then you were mentioning Orton effect. What did you notice about that?
It like sharpened everything, but it also like smoothed everything out at the same time. And it like sharpened the subject, but like smoothed the background. It's really cool.
All right, how do you apply a little bit of that? Oh, nice. Look at that. Now, how old is this model you're working with?
She's 17 years old. She was still in school. Yeah.
Nice. Look at that. Great. How about you show us a before and after so you can use the visibility icon up on top? Look at that.
Before, after.
Great job. All right, I'm going to take back over here for a minute. All right. Awesome job. I want to give her a big round of applause. Again, you know, yes, she's 13 years old. Her parents brought her up in photography and editing, so she's not your typical 13-year-old. All right, but let me show you something here, girls, which you're really gonna love. If you ever wonder what any of the tools do, inside Luminar, if you click on the user guide and then just type in the tool, it'll come up, and here's the Orton effect tool. And it tells you the Orton effect allows for enhancement to an image that includes like a glowing focus on the image itself. And here's the funny part. It makes it sharp and blurry at the same time. So it's one of those tools that just gives that image an extra glow. Now, type 1 increases the saturation, you know, of the image, and then type 2 is a softer glow. I made a mistake earlier when I said it was for sharpening. Yeah, type 2 is for a softer glow that you're adding. And so if you need to know what each of the sliders are doing, you can pick them up here. All right? And again, that's from within inside Luminar, help, user guide. And I love that the engineers thought about putting that stuff in here along with videos, along with tips and tricks, so people can just stay inside Luminar, click, instead of running through, looking through hundreds of videos on YouTube, they organized for you right there at your fingertips. All right? Now, before we go any further, my buddy did ask, let's see, 1 second. Yeah, so I'm dealing with a smaller computer or screen right now, so I apologize if I'm not staring directly at the camera. All right, so before I get to Chris, let me see what, is there a way to move slider under the looks? Interesting, Kit. I'll have to look at that. But a question was asked earlier when I mentioned about making multiple catalogs. Well, if you come over here to the file, catalog, I can create a new catalog. And like I mentioned earlier, I like putting my catalogs in one folder under the C drive. And I named it Luminar Catalogs. Right click, and I created a new folder. And let's say this folder, I'm going to call it Gracie. And then now I can name the catalog. I'll name it Gracie again. So, and once, I'm sorry, let me go back to where I was. So here is Gracie. There we go. And then click Save. Now I have a new blank catalog. So if you're a wedding photographer, yes, then here's what my buddy had asked. So if you're a wedding photographer, or like in your case, Ed, you're doing a lot of trips, you could create a catalog of just that trip. Now that's entirely up to you. Personally, I like keeping one catalog. Let's see. Let me go back to my main. I like just having one catalog and organizing those in my folders. So in your case, Ed, for trips, I could put a new catalog here, or I could create one underneath my collection, a new subfolder, and that new subfolder could be labeled trips. And then under that subfolder, the name of the location of those trips that I went on. And then if you want to later, you can make a collection of all of them and put them into your albums. So that's if you want to use this as a standalone program. Now, yes, thank you, David. It could be a mouse issue. So let me just double check. Tell me if you're getting the same issue. In fact, you know what we'll do? I'll edit a single image. So I'm going to come up to my the plus icon, and I'm going to look for a single image. Let's see, I had it under Google Drive. Yep. Quick transfer, maybe. Yep, here it is. One of my favorite images. Hey, there she is. Gracie, where were we? Photoshop World. In Las Vegas, that's right. That's right. Las Vegas, Photoshop World. Mom was exhausted, and she still went with you to Midnight Madness. Right? And at the end of Midnight Madness, Scott Kelby and the rest of the group, we have a tendency of going out to In-N-Out Burger. And your poor mom could barely keep her eyes open. And as we were walking, she said, honey, look, I don't think I can do this. We'll have to come back another time. And you said, oh, no, I'll just go with them. Mr. Vanelli will watch me. And I just died. And I looked at your mother, and she had this grin from ear to ear. And it was just so funny that here we are in Las Vegas, and you're saying to your mom, trust me, Mr. V will take good care of me. Nobody will mess with me whatsoever. So we did go to In-N-Out Burger. We had a good time. But your mom did take this photo. And Susie, honestly, when you took this photo, did you hesitate a little bit? Exactly. Right? I mean, these are things as photographers think about. And you're like, oh man, if I took it with my cell phone, we'll just bring the cell phone. Oh, it was a cell phone photo. But yes, when you're dealing with this, but here's what's really cool, and I showed Gracie this earlier. When I got this image, first thing I did was the accent AI. Now, I always go to AI Enhance. I always go to my AI accent, but they've already created a really cool look for me. And it's AI Image Enhancer. Now, what this did, which is really cool, not only does it add AI Enhancer, but any of these tools that are highlighted, it added. So if you see if it's highlighted here, it means that these tools were added. All right? Color was the big problem here. We're going to try to remove a little bit of the color cast. Then I know orange is the big culprit. So let's just desaturate the orange. Look at that. And there we have it. And we can bump up the vibrancy just a little bit. There we go. And now it went from this to this. And if I need to, I can always come back over, add a little contrast to it, and pump up the exposure just a little bit. But here's one thing I really like a lot. Ready for this? Here's the portrait enhancer. Look at this. I'm going to go to an extreme. It knows where the face is. How cool is that? So it's going to add a little more light to the face. And looking at this overall, I think I overdid it just a bit, so I'm going to tone down all of them right about there. All right, here we are. Before, after. Real quick. So, all right, girls. Hey, thank you so much. Are there any questions you have for us?
Not really, no.
Good. And so you felt like everything was, I mean, again, you're only doing this, you only did this really for what, a week now?
About, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And how do you feel with it?
Actually, really comfortable. Yeah.
It's been really easy, a very easy transition, and I can't wait to just use it on a daily basis. When things kind of get back to normal, we get back in the daily grind and start seeing how it really changes my daily workflow.
Exactly. So, and that's just something, keep in mind, we're not here to change your workflow to say, hey, look, what we've been doing all these years is wrong. Who wants to hear that? If it works for you, it works for you. I'll give a real quick example. A buddy of mine bought a new car a few years ago. Had the car for a couple years. I'm driving with him. We pull up to his housing development, and he pushes the garage door opener to open up the gate. And I thought, that's interesting. We pull up to his house, and he pushes the second button on the garage door opener, and the garage door opens. And I looked at him, and I said, wait a second. Why are you using your old garage door opener? He goes, well, I have to use it to open up the gate in my garage. I said, yeah, but you have a new car. Underneath the mirror, you have these 3 buttons, and these 3 buttons are the new garage door opener. He goes, what? No. And he looks, I never noticed them. Then I said, well, let's program them. Nah, why would I need to program them? I have this. It's been working for me for years. I don't need anything new. I said, do you always park your car in the garage? He goes, no. Well, if somebody were to break into your car, they have the garage door opener. They can open up your garage door, now get into the house, and break into your home. With these 3 buttons, the moment the car is off, those buttons don't work. That one little information sold him on the fact that, you know what? Let me trade in my garage door opener for those 3 little buttons. So with that being said, for the workflow, I'm not here to tell you to change your workflow. If it works for you, keep it. But like what Susie said, try to incorporate this into your workflow slowly to where the things that took you forever, like skin enhancement or AI sky replacement, or even like some of the organizing skills, whatever you did that they cause problems, look at Luminar as a solution to fix those problems. And then soon you'll start to gradually get to the point where, okay, all programs have a raw developer. All programs have, like you just saw, the Vignette tool. Soon you'll be able to start changing some of the things that you're doing to make it faster and more proficient. So again, I hope that helps. For everyone else, thank you guys so much. Your questions is what's driving the coffee breaks. Somebody asked about, how intuitive is Luminar? I'm just starting out. Is it really that easy to use? So I brought 2 of my friends on just to show you. You have a 13-year-old and a mother who's been in photography and has her own business. So you went from 2 spectrums. Somebody who's starting out, somebody who's been into the business for a while, and you heard from them how they developed. If you have questions on what you would like to see on the show, please leave them in the comments below. I may even ask you to come on as a guest and help out with it. So, Susie and Gracie, thank you 2 so much for coming out today.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you for
see-
having us.
You bet. I'll see you guys soon. And for everyone else, thanks again for joining us.